Hello everyone, welcome. My name is Jessica. We are making baked chia donuts tonight. I'm gonna give everyone a minute to come on and then we'll get started. Super simple, delicious, and a healthier option for a breakfast or snack. So I see people coming on, welcome. I'm just gonna give everyone a minute or so and then we'll get started. So we're making baked chia donuts, super simple and delicious. So stay tuned, I'll be right back. All right, we have lots of people tonight. Welcome. My name is Jessica. I am an integrative nutrition health coach, but I do a lot of the cooking healthy demonstrations with Mastic's Marich's Library. So tonight we're making a baked chia donut. Really easy, delicious, great for a breakfast snack, and I'll show you how to turn it into a dessert. But first, I'm going to post the recipe after this, so it'll be in the comments. This way you don't have to write down everything. I will post the recipe. And then also, if you guys have any comments or questions, feel free to put them below. I try to answer them as we go through the live, but if I forget anything or anyone, I will go back and answer them right after. So we'll get started. The first thing you're gonna do is preheat your oven to 300 degrees. And I'm gonna be using a donut pan tonight. So this recipe is only gonna make 6 mini donuts. You could, of course, double it, triple it, quadruple it, whatever you prefer, because it's a great item to prep in advance. You could throw them in the freezer if you want. This way, people are going back to school, they're going back to work, or if you've been working, it's just something nice that you could grab in the morning, whether you wanna eat it in your car or on the go. It's a good breakfast or a snack. So I just have this pan. Honestly, if you don't have a donut pan, it's okay. You could really use a muffin pan. So don't feel like you have to go out and buy something special for this recipe. But if you want it to be fun and you have kids, it might be cool to do donuts. I even have like a heart donut pan. So you could get them at Home Goods or anywhere pretty much, probably on Amazon. But you could also use a muffin pan. Just your timing might change a little bit. So we'll get started. We're only using a few ingredients, and if you watched any of my demonstrations before, we're using a lot of the same ingredients. So that's what I love about it, is just using staples that we're gonna have in our house, so we don't feel like we need to go to the food store to make a special meal or breakfast or snack, whatever it is. So we are first using chia seeds. If you've not had chia seeds, I highly recommend them. Chia seeds, they are great for your omega-3. It could be anti-inflammatory. It's also a good source of fiber. So if you want to stay full and satiated, this way, if we're consuming a good amount of fiber, most likely we're going to consume less of maybe the sugary and the processed foods. So fiber is going to help you feel satiated and full longer. And that's why we're adding these into these donuts or baked donuts. So this I got from Costco, if you guys could see it. It's a huge bag. I keep it in the refrigerator once I open it, but I typically will use chia seeds all the time in my smoothies. So if you want to add in more omega-3s to your diet and fiber, add it to your smoothies. It's a great way to, you know, add those nutrients in something that, you know, it doesn't really have any flavor. You also could use chia seeds in replace of an egg in some recipes. So it really acts as a binding agent. And if you add the chia seeds to, say, water, you're gonna see that it absorbs the water. So that is why they kind of become like absorbed with the water, gelatinous, if you wanna say, and that's why it's similar in your stomach where it makes you feel full. So you could technically drink it in water, but I prefer to blend them up in a smoothie. You could also sprinkle them if you're eating a salad or something like that. That's another option. So we're gonna do a half a cup of these. And again, we're just making 6 mini donuts, but I typically will at least double this recipe or triple it sometimes. So I just have a clear bowl so you guys can see better. And we're gonna add our dry ingredients. That's another thing about me. I love using minimal equipment so I don't have to clean it all after. So we're just using one bowl, which makes it easy. Some people think that like cleaning dishes is therapeutic, but I don't know. I haven't really felt that way. A lot of times people don't like to cook or bake, but I always say listen to music or, you know, obviously you could listen or watch a show, but music is great. And then also you can listen to a podcast and get educated on whatever you're interested in. And it makes time go by faster. So for our flour, there's a few options for you. And really this is meant to, you know, whatever dietary restrictions you have, you can use whatever flour suits you. I'm going to use a gluten-free flour tonight. It's just a King Arthur, you guys can see, a King Arthur gluten-free flour. That's what I'm using, but oat flour is another great option. So I have oat flour here. You might have seen on my other cooking demonstrations, but if you have not, oat flour is really just grinded up oats. So you could take your rolled oats, put them in a food processor or a blender and make your own oat flour. So super simple. And again, using what ingredients you have on hand. And then if you're grain-free, almond flour could be a good option for you. You could always try that. So really these are a one-to-one substitution, and use whatever flour you like and fits into your dietary restrictions if you have any. So this is the gluten-free flour, and we're just doing 3/4 of a cup. So you just want to measure it out like so, and we're adding it again into the same bowl so you don't have to dirty much. Another tip, which, I mean, if it's important, I always use like a measuring cup that I could use multiple times. So it was a 1/2 cup chia seeds, and we're doing 3/4 of a cup gluten-free flour. So again, using just a 1/4 cup and altering it depending on the portion. Okay, so we have everything there. And then we're just gonna add in some baking powder. We're just doing a 1.5 teaspoons. So this is a 1/2 teaspoon, so I'll do 3 of them. I cannot believe that it's September already. The summer went by so fast. I don't know about you, but I'm kind of sad, or I am sad. I feel like I could use a few more days at the beach or the pool. Okay, so we have a 1.5 teaspoons of that. But I'm just gonna grab the cinnamon. I forgot to put that out. And then I usually suggest to people get creative. Like, I don't know, this would probably be great to do a pumpkin spice in here if you wanted to. I'm using cinnamon tonight, but use whatever you prefer. So we're just doing a 1/4 teaspoon, and we're gonna do a 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt. I'm using a pink Himalayan salt that I love. So we're just doing the 1/4 teaspoon there. And a 1/4 teaspoon of some cinnamon, but maybe for the fall, a pumpkin spice would be really good. So get creative. And then too, you can make 1 batch of pumpkin spice, 1 batch of cinnamon, and kind of have this variety if that's what you're looking for. So in here, I see some people joining us. I am going to post the recipe, and this will be posted on the page if you wanted to relook at it. But the recipe will be posted. I just have a bowl, and I have some chia seeds, a 1/2 cup of chia seeds, 3/4 cup of a gluten-free flour, a 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, and then we just have some cinnamon and pink Himalayan salt. And we're just mixing that, and then we're going to add our wet ingredients here. So super easy. Only a few ingredients. So for our wet ingredients, you're going to use a non-dairy milk. That's my preference. If you want to use dairy, totally fine. So we're using a unsweetened coconut milk. I will say if you are choosing a non-dairy milk, just make sure to read the sugar. I've noticed that a lot of almond milk, they're adding in a lot of sugar, and it's most likely to compensate for it not having a lot of almonds in it and it mostly being filtered water or water. So they're trying to add that sweetness and that sugar to make it taste good. So just be careful of that. This is by Soy Delicious. It's a better coconut milk. You could also use a canned coconut milk, unsweetened, if you want, but this, there's no sugar in it. So again, just read your ingredient labels. You want to make sure that there's minimal ingredients in there. And then also there is a soy milk that I really like. It's found at Trader Joe's. It's actually Trader Joe's brand, and it's an organic unsweetened soy milk. So that's a great option. And then it's a brand called West Soy. That's found at Stop and Shop and probably some other places too, but another unsweetened soy milk. The only ingredients in there are water and soybeans. So just when you're using non-dairy milk, since it's so common now and readily available, I would just make sure you read ingredient labels. This one also I like along with the soy milk. It's actually shelf stable. So until you open it, it could be fine on the shelf, which is really nice. So this way I always have some on hand, and the dates are really quite far. So this is March 2022 until I open it, of course. This I found, I want to say a 6-pack at Costco. So just an option or something to think about. So we just want to make sure that we shake it, because coconut milk, if you know, there's the coconut cream and the fat, so you want to make sure that it is all well combined. And we're just doing 1/3 of a cup. And technically, if you don't have any milk, you could just use water. A lot of recipes, if it calls for a non-dairy milk, I will just use water, and honestly, it works just as well. Okay, so we're just gonna add this in, and then we're gonna add a sweetener. So I'm using an organic maple syrup tonight. You could really choose whatever sweetener of your choice are. I prefer maple syrup. The flavor to me is amazing. Again, it's a natural sugar. Not saying that maple syrup is healthy, right? It's still sugar, but it's a better option. You know, you want to make sure that you're not ingesting high fructose corn syrup or refined sugar. So just make a note, maple syrup is great. You could use agave. I don't love the flavoring of agave, but you know, that will be up to you. And then another choice would be honey. So definitely choose a natural sweetener. And we're doing 1/3 of a cup too. You know, you could always, I always encourage to intake less sugar. So you could always use a little less if you would like. And if you are using honey, another thing to think about, again, read ingredient labels, because not all honey just contains honey, which we would think. So some of them, there's like sugary syrup or high fructose corn syrup in it. So go and read your ingredient labels all the time. And then we're using some vanilla extract. I've also used almond extract in here. You could use a lemon extract or an oil, I think they call it. So again, get creative and use some flavorings. So I'm gonna do a teaspoon. And then we're just gonna mix this together. So everything in one bowl, only a few ingredients. And this is something too, I mean, I like to have a day, at least typically on the weekends, where I just spend some time prepping. So on Sundays, if I'm having breakfast or making breakfast with my family, then I'm prepping some other food for the week, whether it's overnight oats or these chia seed donuts, smoothies, things like that. So just, you know, when you're already in the kitchen making something else, how can you meal prep another item so you don't have to worry about having all this healthier food during the week, so it will already be on hand. So you could see that it's quite thick. If you guys can see it. So it's a thick batter. And then we're gonna have our donut pan. So again, 6 mini donuts. If you don't have a mini donut pan, totally fine, use a muffin pan. I'm just using an avocado oil spray, so this way it doesn't stick. You could also use some unrefined coconut oil. That would be my choice. I like coconut oil or an avocado oil. Olive oil might be a little too strong in flavor. Okay, so we have our greased pan. You could, of course, if you're making it in a muffin, you could put it in muffin. What is that? Muffin, like a muffin tin, but the wrappers. So there's two ways that you could do this, of course. You could put this in a Ziploc bag, cut off the tip, and, you know, squirt it in here. Or, honestly, I just use a spoon. So sometimes I don't have the patience to put it in the Ziploc. So, hey, whatever works, right? And you're just gonna put in the batter, and this really is not going to rise, so you could fill it to the top, and we're just going to make sure to pat it down. Or anybody have any questions so far? Again, you will get the recipe right after this. And the oven's preheated to 300 degrees. They'll probably take about 25 minutes. I like when they get a little golden brown, and they're gonna have, they're gonna be definitely dense. And again, there's a lot of fiber in here to help you stay full and satiated. So we're just gonna quickly do this. And you can freeze them as well. And I would eat these as a breakfast if I was on the go, or as a snack if I needed a little something. I'm going to show you how you could also eat them as a dessert. There's the maple syrup, and you could always add icing. I'm going to show you the icing that I use, because obviously to make better, you know, just having a better option of an icing that would be, you know, icing is never healthy, but a better option with better ingredients is definitely important. So you're just gonna fill these up. Again, the batter is really thick. And if you only have this small donut pan like I do, and you doubled or tripled the recipe, honestly, I make some of them muffins, I make some of them donuts, whatever I have, because I'm impatient and I don't want to do 6 at a time. So it's totally fine. I know everyone's busy, and sometimes cooking or baking is the last thing on everyone's mind. So I'm just going to smack them down here. So you can see these are our uncooked baked, or no, I guess they're not baked yet, uncooked chia donuts. So these are going to go in the oven, 300 degrees for about 25 minutes. You could start at 20 minutes and then just see how they look. You want to make sure that obviously they're cooked through, You could put it in a toothpick. There's no raw egg in here, so we didn't use any egg at all. These are completely dairy-free, gluten-free in case you have any allergies. And then I'm gonna show you the finished product. Okay, so, and I quickly made these yesterday before work, so you definitely can make them in like a half hour or so. The oven pretty much takes the longest part of it. So these are our little donuts. Aren't they pretty cute? So you could just put them on a plate. I like them plain because again, they have that sweetness from the maple syrup, but if you want to put some jelly on them, so you can see, you guys see? So they're kind of like bite-sized or smaller donuts, but really dense, right? They're baked. There's not a lot of ingredients in there. So you could put a little nut butter on here. You could put a little jam if you want to. Maybe have it with some fruit. That's another option. And then if you wanted to make it as a dessert, you could always ice these. If you have kids or even for yourself and you want to just make them fun, you can obviously make your own icing. There's some recipes for like a coconut whipped icing. This one I like to get in the store as kind of like a cheat. So this is called Simple Mills. Some Stop and Shops have them, and then like a Whole Foods or Cornucopia, if you know that, in Sayville. This is an organic frosting with coconut oil. So again, just better ingredients. You know, there's organic palm shortening, some powdered sugar, coconut oil. By no means healthy, but if you were going to eat it as a dessert and you wanted something fun, better than the alternative, you know, icing that you would find in the store, you could always use some like natural sprinkles or something like that. Could be a good option as well. So I'm going to post this recipe. Anybody else or anyone have any questions, feel free to write them below and let me know if you try out these donuts. They're really delicious. I'll even break one too. So you can see how dense they are. But for me, that's really filling and satisfying. You don't have to feel guilty about eating a donut and something that's great on the go. So I hope you guys will make these. Until next time, have an amazing night. Thank you so much, Karen. I'm gonna post this recipe now. Let me know if you guys make them. So really simple, only a few ingredients. Enjoy the rest of your night, and I will see you guys all soon. So thank you so much. Bye-bye.